think, first of all, the energy was out of the roof, and I think obviously because the shots were falling in. Now I did a crazy stretch, and maybe, I don't know, 2 minutes, right? 4 threes, if I'm not wrong, and the bench was super active. We were super hyped, and I think that was the key for our start.
What was the biggest difference after that allowed the Pistons to gain the momentum back?
I think, well, we punched them, and that's what Jordy was kind of talking about. We punched them, and they're the team that's going to answer no matter what, and we just had to keep trying to punch. And I felt like our energy was kind of getting lower at some point, and this is something we got to execute better next games, just really trying to maintain that energy level that we start with, and trying to finish with the same energy.
How similar or different are your pick and roll reads and where shooters are spaced on the floor this year compared to last year at BYU? How similar is the diagramming?
Well, there's a lot of similar principles. Obviously, Coach Young brought from NBA, right, and a lot of teams playing kind of the same principles, as I said. But here, obviously, we have so much more cutting. We have, Canada cuts, wheel, all this stuff that we call. At BYU, it was more of just a space out, right, and pick and roll, trying to understand what coverage defense is playing against us. And depending on that coverage, we would, kind of adapt our offense into it. Which, again, I'm not trying to say something is good, something is bad. It's just a little different. But, for me, it's really important to, get not just get used to it, but really understand how I can affect the game in a good way. Understanding the game plan from Jordy and the principles that we do and the principles that we practice every day, pretty much.
Did you find it easier to get into a rhythm as a facilitator starting versus coming off the bench?
I don't think it's something that should affect me a lot. Sometimes it's even easier to get into the rhythm from the bench because you already see what the defense look like and, who's in the court and where the weak spots in defense are and things like this. But, I was locked in today and really trying to anticipate my affection on the game and my impact, as I try to do always. But, obviously, again, today was better. Yesterday was worse. Nobody knows how it's going to be tomorrow. And, there's no perfect days. So today was good, and hopefully I can maintain that level of awareness.
Egor, there at the end of the first half, you kind of had the two tough shots. Jordy pulled you aside to talk with you afterward. I don't really want to know what that conversation was, but just kind of what has it been like with him, and kind of his ability to clearly get points across? It seems like a lot of players have mentioned that, but how has that relationship been with you guys where he's kind of very willing and quickly to point stuff out to you?
I think it's great. I think it's really good for everybody, not just me, but the whole group in general, knowing that Jordy's really trying to help us, right, and help the group. And he's super open to communicate and tell us what exactly he wants from us, and not just the group, but each of us, right, as a personnel. And for me, it's important to hear some advices from him during the game, before the game, after the game, things like this. So I think it's really cool.
There was obviously a lot of conversation about your lack of rim attempts and getting downhill, and that's ticked up, slightly in recent games. Do you feel yourself getting more comfortable initiating the offense, kind of on those pick and roll reps, trying to get downhill, touch the paint, do some of those things?
Yeah, this is definitely something that I was trying to focus on after the first couple of games in the season, and now really trying to be even more aggressive and touch the paint, even if it's not going to the rim, but just get deeper into the offense so I can find something for myself or for my teammates.
Hey, Egor. Noah kind of had the slow start to the season shooting the ball, hot start tonight. How did it feel as his teammate being out there to see him start the way that he did tonight?
You said Noah?
Yeah.
I love him. I think it's really important for me personally and for the team to make sure that he has this confidence, right, to keep shooting. And everybody knows that he can shoot the ball extremely well, as he did today, literally, as I said, in the first 2 minutes of the game. And not just those stretches, but he can be consistent during the whole 46 minutes, right? So I think that's amazing that he keeps shooting. And Jordy obviously is kind of telling us to keep shooting at this point, right? We have our plan for the game, how much we want to shoot threes, and everybody obviously trying to treat it the way the coaches want us to treat it.
Egor, you've mentioned just how you're continuously trying to grow and learn from this group. With a game like this, where it's your first start, and then also playing in a game that's so physical that the Pistons had, just what would you say personally were some of your main lessons and takeaways that you would take from this game as you kind of move forward?
Well, I think I will come back to what I said about energy level. Just how can we, as a group, and each of us, maintain that level of positive energy bringing to the team. As Georgie says, there is no neutral. You're either positive or you're negative, and if you're not positive, that means you're not really doing good for the group. And that's a lot of me. I just I gotta be the voice on the court, and not just on the court but on the bench. And I talked to Jordy about it. Well, he talked to me about it. Just how can I be as loud as I can be anytime, right? And I think this is kind of my goal, not just for this season, but in general for myself as a player, to develop this even more, to be a voice and to be as vocal as I can be.
Got 9 games under your belt now. In terms of just the level up in competition, has there been anything that's surprised you about it, or has it been more or less what you were expecting?
I mean, obviously a new level. So I can't say I knew how was it gonna be like, but after the first game, you kind of start understanding where it is, and after the second game, even more. And now I think I kind of getting used to the this level and the level of physicality, some sort of principles and things like this.
Jordy talked about your setups at the point of attack on offense, using screens. What has been within that? How are you trying to use ball screens? Make the best contact that you can. What goes into that?
I think for me especially, it's a lot about patience, right? And not being selfish about screens, because sometimes if I'm not patient, our bigs can get foul. Obviously, that's something that I don't want it to happen, obviously, and I just need to make sure I'm being physical and I'm being loaded with the ball and being aware of whatever happens around me. And just as I said, being patient, waiting for the screen, because from there, obviously, we can get more out of it.